We are talking about the clinical data found with BHB and the study that supports reduced anxiety by 40%. People talk about the study, but they don't dive into the details of what it actually means and how incredibly powerful this study really is. 40% anxiety reduction, faster reaction time measured. The study was measured by gold standard instruments in the industry. A clinical study on BHB-MCT formulation is being missed, and what makes the results really matter isn't just these numbers, it's what they use to measure them. Gold standard clinical instruments, not self-reported surveys, not wearables. These same tools were used in psychiatric researched and FDA-cleared brain assessments. 2 BHB-MCT formulations with different ratios, 8 weeks, 57 subjects, twice daily dosing. The study tracked anxiety reaction time, cognitive processing, and body composition with clinical grade measurements across the board. The last part is what separates this from most supplement research. So let's talk about why these very specific tools matter. 3 tools did the heavy lifting here in this study, and each one is considered a benchmark in the field. So the first one is the HAM-A. It stands for Hamilton Anxiety Rating Scale. This is the gold standard clinical instrument for measuring anxiety severity. It's been in use since 1959. It's what psychiatrists used in FDA drug trials to evaluate anti-anxiety medication. How powerful is that? When a pharmaceutical company wants to prove that their anxiety drugs work, this is the skill they have to move it. So when a BHB formulation moves the HAM-A score by 40%, that's like being measured on the same ruler as prescription pharmaceuticals. The second test used in this study was called the WAVi P300. This is an FDA-cleared EEG-based device that measured evoked brain response. The P300 signal is one of the most studied markers in cognitive neuroscience. It tracks the brain's actual electrical response to a stimulus. Not how fast someone says they responded, but how fast the neurons fired. What this data does is actually backs up the theory that ketones support brain cognition in what you're feeling and the evidence to show it. It's also used in concussion research, cognitive aging studies, and neurological assessment. This is objective, quantifiable brain function data. These are standard neuropsychological assessments. Trial making is used in clinical dementia screening, traumatic brain injury evaluation, and executive function research. The Flinker test used is a core tool in attention and cognitive control research. These aren't wellness apps. These are not assessments clinicians use in hospitals and research institutions. Stacking all 3 of these together is what you have is a measurable framework most supplement studies never even come close to. So let's get into the results. The stronger formulation dropped the HAM-A anxiety score by 40%. The weaker formulation dropped them by 24%. This tells us that BHB formulations both worked. The ratios are what mattered. There's debate about where this range should start. And with the new clinical data out as low as 2 grams all the way up to 8. Subjects were not in ketosis. This means BHB is producing measurable effects on anxiety, psychology without requiring the ketogenic lifestyle. And it opens up the door for targeting stress, mood, and daily wellness categories. If you're a formulator or a brand looking to go after those categories, it's not keto specific. Jumping into the reaction time, this improved by nearly 40 milliseconds in the stronger group. Measured by the WAVi P300, This is not self-reported. This is not a coach clicking, watching, or a test taker. This is actually electrical brain activity being measured that it's firing faster. This reinforces the mechanisms we already know about BHB being able to cross the blood-brain barrier faster than glucose, getting used directly as neural fuel, producing more ATP per unit of oxygen than glucose, which is going to reduce the overall oxidative stress on the neurons in the brain. Now, we have formulation-specific clinical data to point to when we tell this story. This is what makes this study so powerful. Takeaways for anybody using goBHB. The key takeaways for brands building with goBHB is ratio drives the outcome. Not all BHB products are equivalent, and that's the real differentiation in the story for our partners who formulate correctly. Category expansion is clinically supported. The benefits show up in non-ketosis subject measured by instruments that carry credibility in pharmaceutical research. The claim conversation just got sharper. The instruments being used to make these tests aren't just a hand wave away. When you bring clinical grade measurement to a supplement ingredient, the regulatory and marketing substationary story strengthens considerably. The sample was a small 33 subjects in key comparison, if we're going to break it down even more. Single blind, not double blind, industry funded. This is directional support, not a pharmaceutical monograph, which makes it even more powerful. But here's the part most people would frame as weakness that's actually pointing to something really incredibly important. 84% of the subjects were women, and the result still hit hard. Measured by instruments that earn respect in clinical research is what makes it matter even more. Because women's brain health is one of the most under-researched, underserved, but yet fastest growing conversations in wellness right now. Perimenopause hormonal anxiety, cognitive shifts in the 35 to 55 window. You have brain fog that doesn't get taken seriously. And the pharmaceutical playbook has almost nothing clean to offer the audience. And the supplement industry has been running on vibes. A female-weighted clinical study showing 40% anxiety reduction and measurably faster cognitive processing on instruments used by the FDA drug trials. This is a signal worth paying attention to. Not a final endpoint, but the beginning endpoint of where ketones not only support performance, athletics, executive functions, but where it makes an impact on the brain health for women.